Hey, it's your friend POV, and welcome to the channel where we figure out how to make life work for, especially in this crazy fast-paced world we're navigating. If you're part of Gen Z, you know the deal. We're ambitious, we're creative, we're digitally native, but man, can it feel like there are never enough hours in the day, right? Between classes, side hustles, social lives, staying updated online and trying to save the world, time can feel like it's slipping through our fingers faster than a viral TikTok trend. But what if I told you that mastering your time isn't about adding more hours to your day, but adding more life to your hours? Today, we are diving deep into a topic that is absolutely critical for success, and more importantly, for your sanity time management, but with a special Gen Z twist. Forget those stuffy, outdated techniques that don't get our vibe. We're talking practical, actionable strategies that you can implement to help you crush your goals, reduce that gnawing stress, and actually carve out space for joy, creativity, and yes, even some well-deserved chill time. Because let's be real, burnout is not a badge of honor, and being constantly overwhelmed is so last season. So if you're ready to stop feeling like you're constantly running on a hamster wheel and start feeling empowered, in control, and genuinely productive, then you, my friend, are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down 5 game-changing pillars that will transform the way you look at your schedule and your energy. Get ready to take some notes, have some aha moments, and step into a version of yourself that gets things done, enjoys the journey. Let's do this! Alright, let's kick things off with the absolute cornerstone of effective time management, prioritizing your tasks. I know, it sounds kinda basic, but trust me when I say this is where so many of us, especially with the million things vying for our attention, can get seriously sidetracked. Think about it, your phone is buzzing, your DMs are popping, that new series just dropped, and your to-do list looks longer than a CVS receipt. It's easy to just dive into whatever feels loudest or easiest, but that's a surefire recipe for feeling busy, but not actually productive. We're aiming for impact, not just activity. The real magic happens when you learn to distinguish between what's truly important, those tasks that will move the needle on your biggest goals, and what's merely urgent, or worse, just a distraction disguised as work. This distinction is everything. It's like having a superpower that allows you to see through the noise and focus your precious energy where it counts the most. Imagine having a filter that sifts through all the requests, demands, and shiny objects, leaving you with a clear, concise list of what needs your attention today to get you closer to where you want to be tomorrow, next week, or even next year. So how do we actually do this? One incredibly effective way is to look at your tasks through the lens of impact and effort. You might have heard of the Eisenhower matrix: urgent, important, and that's a fantastic starting point. But let's Gen Z-ify it a bit. Think about what tasks, if completed, will give you the biggest return on your investment of time and energy. What will make you feel most accomplished, reduce the most stress, or unlock the next step in a major project? These are your VIP tasks, your A-listers, and they deserve the prime real estate in your schedule. Often, these high-priority tasks are the ones we tend to procrastinate on because they might feel big, challenging, or a little bit daunting. It's so much easier to clear out a bunch of small, insignificant emails than to tackle that big research paper or start planning that passion project, right? But here's a little secret. Tackling those big rocks first, even if you only chip away at them for a focused block of time, creates incredible momentum and a profound sense of achievement that fuels you for the rest of your day. It's about working smarter, not just harder. Another powerful technique is to connect your daily tasks back to your larger goals. If you know something is important, if you can see how it fits into the bigger picture of what you're trying to build or achieve, it becomes so much easier to prioritize it. For example, if your goal is to launch your own Etsy shop, then tasks like product research, creating listings, or learning about marketing become high priority, even if they feel less immediately gratifying than scrolling through Instagram. That connection to your why is your anchor. And remember, prioritization isn't a one-time thing you do on Monday morning and then forget about. It's an ongoing practice, a daily check-in with yourself. What's the most important thing I can do? What's essential for? Your priorities might shift based on deadlines, opportunities, or even how you're feeling, and that's totally okay. The key is to be intentional and conscious about where you're directing your focus, rather than letting your day be dictated by the whims of others or the tyranny of the urgent. So your action item for this chapter is to take a look at your current to-do list, or even just the jumble of tasks floating around in your head, and identify your top 1 to 3 priorities for the next 24 hours. Not 10, not 20, just 1 to 3. What are those needle movers? Write them down, put them somewhere visible, and commit to giving them your best energy. This simple act can revolutionize your productivity and, more importantly, your sense of control. Don't underestimate the power of this first step. When you consistently focus on what truly matters, you'll find that you're not just getting more done, but you're getting the things done. This builds confidence, reduces overwhelm, and frees up mental space for creativity and innovation. All things that we, as Gen Z, value so highly. You're not just managing tasks, you're directing your life's energy towards what you value most. And that, my friends, is a beautiful thing. Think of yourself as the CEO of You Inc. A great CEO doesn't get bogged down in every minor detail. They focus on the strategic initiatives that will drive the company forward. Your high-priority tasks are your strategic initiatives. Give them the attention they deserve and watch how your personal company thrives. It's about being ruthless with your time in the kindest way possible. Kind to your future self who will thank you for it. And finally, remember that clarity precedes mastery. The clearer you are on what your priorities are, the easier it becomes to manage your time effectively. So take that moment, gain that clarity, and then step into your day with purpose. You've got this. It's not about perfection. It's about progress and making conscious choices that align with your biggest, brightest aspirations. This is your time. Make it count by focusing on what counts. Okay, team, let's talk about something we Gen Zers know a thing or two about: technology. We grew up with smartphones in our hands, information at our fingertips, and an app for pretty much everything. But here's the million-dollar question. Are we using technology to truly manage our time effectively? Or is it sometimes managing? It's a powerful tool, no doubt, but like any tool, it's all about how you wield it. Today we're focusing on how to make tech your ultimate time-saving ally. First off, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room: digital distractions. Notifications, endless scrolls, the FOMO, it's real, and it can be a massive time suck. So, the first step in using technology wisely is to set boundaries with your technology. This might sound counterintuitive when we're talking about using tech time management, but it's crucial. You can't effectively use a calendar app if you're constantly being pulled away by social media alerts. So consider turning off non-essential notifications, scheduling specific times for checking social media, and even using apps that help you focus by blocking distracting websites during work periods. Now, onto the fun stuff, the apps and tools that can genuinely streamline your life and help you reclaim your time. Think about digital calendars, for instance. Whether it's Google Calendar, Outlook Calendar, or a dedicated planner app, these tools are lifesavers for organizing your schedule, setting reminders, and even color-coding different areas of your life like classes, work, social events, and personal appointments. The key is to actually it consistently. Make it your central hub for everything time-related. No more scribbled notes on random pieces of paper or trying to remember everything in your head. Then there are task management and to-do list apps. Tools like Todoist, Trello, Asana, or even the Reminders app on your phone can be incredibly powerful. These allow you to break down big projects into smaller, manageable steps, set deadlines, assign priorities, and track your progress. There's something so satisfying about digitally checking off a completed task, isn't there? Plus, many of these apps allow for collaboration, which is super handy for group projects or coordinating with friends. Find one that resonates with your style. Some are minimalist, others are more visual. The best app is the one you'll actually use. Don't forget about note-taking apps. Evernote, Notion, OneNote, or even Simple Notes apps can be invaluable for capturing ideas on the go, organizing research, and keeping all your important information in one accessible place. Think about how much time you can save when you're not scrambling to find that brilliant idea you had last week, or that important link someone sent you. These apps act like your external brain, freeing up your mental RAM for more creative and critical thinking. Imagine having all your lecture notes, project ideas, and random sparks of genius neatly organized and searchable. Another category of tech that can be a huge time saver is automation tools. Think about setting up email filters to automatically sort your inbox, using services like IFTTT, if this then that, to connect different apps and automate repetitive tasks, or even using scheduling tools for social media posts if that's part of your hustle. Every little bit of automation frees up a few minutes, and those minutes add up significantly over time, allowing you to focus on tasks that require your unique human intelligence and creativity. And let's talk about tools specifically designed for focus and productivity, like Pomodoro timers or website blockers. The Pomodoro technique, which involves working in focused 25-minute intervals with short breaks in between, has a ton of apps built around it. These can help you stay on task and prevent burnout. Similarly, if you know you're prone to wandering onto certain distracting websites, a blocker can be your best friend during study or work sessions. It's about creating an environment, both physical and digital, that supports your focus. However, a word of caution: don't fall into the trap of appaholism, downloading every new productivity app you hear about without really integrating any of them into your workflow. The goal isn't to have the most apps, it's to have the apps that genuinely help you. Experiment with a few, see what clicks, and then commit to using them consistently. Sometimes simpler is better. A complex system you don't use is far less effective than a simple one you use every day. Remember, technology is a servant, not a master. We want to leverage its power to enhance our productivity and organization, not become slaves to its demands. This means being intentional about and you use your devices. For example, schedule tech-free time, especially before bed, to improve your sleep quality, which in turn boosts your energy and focus for the next day. It's all interconnected. Ultimately, using technology wisely for time management is about finding a personalized system that works for you. What helps your best friend stay organized might not be the perfect fit for your brain or your lifestyle. So, be curious, explore the options, but always come back to what genuinely makes your life easier, more organized, and allows you to spend your time on what truly matters to you. It's about being a smart consumer and user of technology, making it work your goals, not against them. Chapter 3. Goal Getter, Setting Targets. You can actually hit and feel good about. Alright, let's dive into something that's super close to my heart and absolutely essential for not just managing your time, but for feeling fulfilled and motivated, setting realistic goals. Now I know Gen Z is bursting with ambition. We want to change the world, launch that startup, ace those exams, and have a killer social life all at the same time. And that drive is incredible, truly. But if our goals are constantly sky high without a clear path to reach them, or if we're piling on too much too soon, we're setting ourselves up for a one-way ticket to Burnout City. And trust me, that's not a fun destination. Setting realistic goals isn't about dreaming smaller, it's about dreaming smarter. It's about understanding your current capacity, resources, and timeline, and then breaking down those big, audacious dreams into achievable steps. Think of it like climbing a mountain. You don't just teleport to the summit, right? You plan your route, you take it one step at a time, you set up base camps. Each small victory, each milestone reached, fuels your motivation to keep going. That's the power of realistic goal setting. One of the biggest pitfalls I see is setting vague goals, like I want to be more productive or I want to do better in school. Those are great sentiments, but they're not actionable goals. How will you know when you've achieved them? What does more productive even look like? This is where the SMART framework can be incredibly helpful, but let's give it a little Marie TV sparkle. We want goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, but also goals that let's call them SMART goals. That E for excitement is key for Gen Z. If you're not jazzed about it, it's harder to stick with it. So, let's break that down. Specific means getting crystal clear on what you want to accomplish. Instead of do better in school, try achieve a B+ or higher in my calculus class. See the difference? Measurable means defining how you'll track your progress and know when you've succeeded. For the calculus goal, it's the final grade. For a creative project, it might be completing a certain number of pages or designs. This helps you see how far you've come. Achievable is where the realistic part really comes in. This means setting goals that are within your reach, given your current circumstances, skills, and resources. It doesn't mean they can't be challenging, but they shouldn't be impossible. If you've never run a mile, aiming to run a marathon next month probably isn't achievable. But aiming to run a 5K in 3 months, much more doable. And a great stepping stone. This is about being honest with yourself and setting yourself up for wins. Relevant means ensuring your goals align with your overall values and larger aspirations. Why is this goal important to? Does it move you closer to the kind of life you want to live, or the person you want to become? If a goal doesn't feel meaningful, your motivation to pursue it will fizzle out pretty quickly. That connection to your personal why is the fuel that keeps you going when things get tough. And for Gen Z, authenticity and purpose are huge drivers. Time-bound means giving your goal a deadline. This creates a sense of urgency and helps you prioritize. I will finish the first draft of my screenplay by December 31st. Without a deadline, goals can easily get pushed to the someday maybe pile, which, let's be honest, often means never. A deadline creates focus and a clear endpoint to work towards. And that exciting part, make sure the goal genuinely lights you up. If it feels like a chore, reevaluate if it's truly goal. Another crucial aspect of setting realistic goals is breaking big goals down into smaller, bite-sized tasks. That dream of launching your own podcast? It can feel overwhelming, but if you break it down into 1, research podcast topics, 2, outline first 3 episodes, 3, learn basic audio editing, 4, record first episode, suddenly it feels much more manageable. Each small task you complete gives you a little dopamine hit and builds momentum. Celebrate those small wins along the way, and please, please, please be kind to yourself in this process. There will be days when you don't hit your targets, when you get sidetracked, or when life just happens. That's not failure. That's being human. The key is to not let setbacks derail you completely. Reevaluate, adjust your plan if necessary, and get back on track. Flexibility is just as important as focus. Sometimes the most realistic part of goal setting is acknowledging that plans need to adapt. Remember, the purpose of setting goals isn't just about the achievement itself, but about the growth and learning that happens along the way. It's about building discipline, resilience, and self-awareness. When you consistently set and achieve realistic goals, you build an undeniable sense of competence and self-trust. You prove to yourself that you do hard things, that you make progress, and that your dreams are within reach. This is how you build unstoppable momentum. So your homework for this chapter is to take one big aspiration you have and try to make it a SMART goal. Get specific. Figure out how you'll measure it, ensure it's achievable yet exciting, check its relevance to your bigger picture, and give it a time frame. Then, break it down into at least 3 smaller, actionable steps. This practice will transform how you approach your ambitions, making them feel less like distant dreams and more like concrete projects you can actively work on. You got this! Chapter 4. The Recharge Revolution. Why breaks are your secret productivity weapon. Alright, let's talk about something that might feel a little counterintuitive when we're on the subject of mastering time and getting things done. Taking breaks. I know, especially for a generation as driven and connected as Gen Z, the pressure to always be on, always hustling, always productive can be immense. But here's a truth bomb for you. Constantly pushing yourself without rest is not sustainable, and it's actually detrimental to your productivity, creativity, and overall well-being. Breaks aren't a luxury. They are a necessity. Think of your brain like a muscle. If you go to the gym and lift weights for hours on end without any rest, what happens? Your muscles get fatigued, your form suffers, and you might even injure yourself. Your brain works in a similar way. When you're intensely focused on a task for long periods, your cognitive resources get depleted. You become less efficient, more prone to errors, and your creativity takes a nosedive. Breaks are like the rest periods between sets. They allow your brain to recover and recharge. Many of us have internalized this idea that if we're not actively working, we're wasting time. But that's a myth we need to bust like yesterday. Strategic breaks can actually help you get done in less time because you return to your work refreshed, with a clearer perspective, and often with new insights. It's about working in sprints, not marathons. That intense focus followed by a deliberate pause is a powerful rhythm for peak performance. This is where techniques like the Pomodoro technique, which we touched on earlier, really shine by building breaks right into your workflow. So what kind of breaks are we talking about? It doesn't have to be a 2-hour nap, though sometimes that's nice. Even short micro breaks can make a huge difference. Stepping away from your screen for 5 to 10 minutes every hour can help reduce eye strain, mental fatigue, and improve focus. During these micro breaks, get up, stretch, walk around, grab a glass of water, look out the window, anything that shifts your physical and mental state from the task at hand. Then there are longer breaks, perhaps 15 to 30 minutes after a couple of hours of focused work. This is a great time to actually step away from your workspace. Go for a short walk outside if you can. Nature has an incredible restorative effect. Listen to a couple of your favorite songs. Do a quick meditation or some deep breathing exercises. Chat with a friend about something other than work. Or grab a healthy snack. The key is to do something completely different from what you were working on. And let's not forget the importance of truly disconnecting during your downtime evenings, weekends, and actual vacations. In our always-on culture, it can be tempting to check emails or work on projects during these times. But your brain and body need extended periods of rest and recovery to prevent burnout and maintain long-term productivity. This is where you recharge your batteries so you can show up as your best self when it's time to work or study. Protecting this downtime is an act of self-respect. One common fear is that if you take a break, you'll lose momentum or find it hard to get back to work. Sometimes that can happen if the break is unstructured or too long. But if you schedule your breaks and have a clear intention for what you'll do when you return, they usually boost your motivation. Think of it as a planned pit stop in a race. It's strategic, it refuels you, and it gets you back on the track faster and stronger. It's also important to listen to your body and mind. Some days you might need more frequent or longer breaks than others, and that's perfectly okay. If you're feeling foggy, frustrated, or your attention is constantly wandering, that's a clear sign you need to step away for a bit. Pushing through that feeling often leads to diminished returns and lower quality work. A short break can often help you break through a mental block or see a problem from a new angle. Consider incorporating different types of breaks into your routine. Physical breaks, movement, stretching; mental breaks, meditation, listening to music; social breaks, chatting with someone; and even creative breaks, doodling, playing an instrument for a few minutes, can all be beneficial. The variety keeps things interesting and caters to different needs. What recharges one person might be different for another, so experiment and find what works best for you. So the challenge for this chapter is to consciously schedule and take breaks throughout your day, especially during periods of intense work or study. Start small if you need to. Set a timer for 25 or 50 minutes of focused work, then take a 5 or 10-minute break. Notice how you feel. Notice if your focus improves when you return. Make breaks a non-negotiable part of your productivity strategy, not an afterthought. Your brain, your body, and your to-do list will thank you for it. Remember, resting is part of the work. Chapter 5. The Power of No Guarding Your Time and Energy. Like a VIP. Okay, this final chapter is a big one, and it might be one of the hardest for many of us, especially if you're a kind, ambitious, and helpful person, which I know so many of you Gen Zers are. We're talking about the incredible, often underestimated power of learning to say no. That's right, just 2 little letters, but they can be absolutely transformative when it comes to protecting your time, your energy, and your focus. In a world of endless opportunities, requests, and invitations, your ability to say no strategically is a superpower. Think about it. Every time you say yes to something, you are implicitly saying no to something else. If you say yes to an extra project you don't have time for, you might be saying no to getting enough sleep, no to working on your passion project, or no to spending quality time with loved ones. Your time and energy are finite resources, probably your most precious ones. Learning to say no is about consciously deciding where those resources go, aligning them with your priorities and what truly matters to you. Many of us, especially when we're younger or trying to build our careers or reputations, feel pressured to say yes to everything. We don't want to disappoint people. We don't want to miss out on opportunities. Hello, FOMO. Or we think saying yes makes us seem more capable or agreeable. But constantly saying yes without discernment can lead to being overcommitted, overwhelmed, stressed out, and spread way too thin. You end up doing a mediocre job on many things instead of an excellent job on the few things that truly count. Learning to say no isn't about being rude, selfish, or unhelpful. It's about being clear, honest, and respectful, both to the other person and, crucially, to yourself. It's about setting healthy boundaries. When you're clear on your priorities, which we talked about in Chapter 1, and your realistic goals, Chapter 3, it becomes much easier to evaluate requests and decide whether they align with where you want to go. Your no to one thing creates space for a more important yes. So, how do you actually say no gracefully and effectively, without burning bridges or feeling like a jerk? First, you don't always need a long, elaborate excuse. A simple, polite "thank you so much for thinking of me, but I'm not able to take that on right now" can be perfectly sufficient. Or, "I appreciate the invitation, but my schedule is already fully committed during that time." Honesty, delivered kindly, is usually respected. Sometimes you might be able to offer an alternative if you genuinely want to help, but can't commit to the specific request. For example, "I can't lead that committee, but I'd be happy to contribute in a smaller way by suggesting a specific limited task." Or, "I don't have the bandwidth for that project now, but perhaps suggest someone else would be a great fit." This shows you're still supportive, just unable to meet the original request. It's also helpful to buy yourself some time if you're unsure or feel put on the spot. Instead of an immediate yes or no, you can say, "Let me check my calendar and get back to you," or "That sounds interesting. Can I take a day to think about it and see if it fits with my current commitments?" This gives you a chance to thoughtfully consider the request against your priorities without pressure. Often upon reflection, you'll realize it's not the right fit. Remember, saying no to things that drain your energy or pull you away from your core objectives is actually an act of service to the things you said yes to. It allows you to bring your best self, your full attention, and your highest quality work to your commitments. People will ultimately respect you more for being reliable and delivering excellence on what you commit to, rather than overpromising and underdelivering because you said yes too often. Practice saying no in low-stakes situations first to build your confidence. It might feel uncomfortable initially, especially if you're a people pleaser. But like any skill, it gets easier with practice. And pay attention to how you feel you've politely declined something that wasn't right for you. Often, there's a sense of relief and empowerment. That's a sign you're honoring your own needs and boundaries. Ultimately, mastering the art of saying no is about valuing your time as much as you value others. It's about understanding that your energy is precious and needs to be directed intentionally. For Gen Z, with so many possibilities and pressures, this skill is not just helpful, it's essential for sustainable success and well-being. It's your permission slip to focus on what truly lights you up and moves you forward without guilt or apology. Your time is yours. Own it. You've got the power, make your time yours. Alright, rock stars, we have covered so much ground today on mastering your time Gen Z style. From zeroing in on your priorities and leveraging tech like a pro, to setting those exciting, achievable goals, embracing the power of breaks, and learning the art of the graceful no. These are not just tips, they are transformative practices. Remember, time management isn't about rigid rules or becoming a productivity robot. It's about creating more space in your life for what truly matters to. It's about freedom, it's about focus, and it's about feeling damn good about how you spend your precious days. The truth is, you have so much more control over your time and energy than you probably think. It starts with intention, with making conscious choices, and with consistently applying these strategies. Don't try to implement everything all at once if it feels overwhelming. Pick one or two ideas that resonated most with you today and start there. Small changes, when practiced consistently, lead to massive results. You are brilliant, you are capable, and the world genuinely needs that special gift that only you have. Don't let a mismanaged schedule or a feeling of overwhelm hold you back from sharing it. So, what's the one thing you're going to do differently this week to take back your time and amplify your impact? Drop a comment below and let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you found this helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe for more goodness, and share it with a friend who could use a little time-taming magic in their life. Until next time, stay curious, stay awesome, and remember, you've got this.